All right, hello everybody. Going to show you how to use the Forest River Wildwood XLite from hooking up the trailer to the back of the truck all the way to setting up and tearing it down. When backing the truck up into the trailer, just make sure you have the trailer jacked high enough for the ball to get underneath the receiver. And if you don't have a backup camera, make sure you have somebody there to assist. Make sure the ball is lined up underneath the hitch, and make sure that you can get it all the way down and close the latch. Just push the power button down. If their battery happens to be dead, there is a crank that goes right here. You can also hook up to your truck, and that will help. Okay, step one, lower the ball into the hitch and close the latch. Step one, lower the ball into the hitch and close the latch. If the hitch latch won't close all the way, you might have to pull forward an inch like I do. Once the latch will close, to use the sway bars, which I have right down there, you're gonna wanna adjust the hitch by lifting the trailer using the power jack about 18 inches or so, depending on your truck. You want your trailer to ride level. I'm gonna go about 10 to 12 inches on this. My Suburban rides a little high. I'll back up so you can see. I lifted the back of my Suburban up, and the back of the trailer is aiming downward. Once you have that, you're ready to add the sway bars. To add the sway bars, you just slide it right in like so. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Get it on the notch and rotate it. And then, depending on your vehicle, you're gonna wanna go 5 to 6 chains from the sway bar itself right onto this hook. So I'm gonna go 5. Once you have your 5 or 6 chain links, you're just gonna use a leverage bar to lift up into place, and then use the cotter pin right there in the holes. Make sure you get it in, that secures it. And that's what one side looks like. You hook up the other side and then lower it down. Make sure you hook up the chains to the back of the truck like so. And then don't forget your cotter pin in your trailer hitch. Very important. When everything is hooked up, check your lights, insert in the receiver. If you don't have a receiver, a 7-pin receiver that'll fit, you do need to have an adapter. Test the lights, make sure that they work. Have somebody check the brakes and the turn signals, and you're good to go. Next step, lower the trailer off of the jack stand. Make sure to raise the jack stand up at least as high as the sway bars rest. That way, in case you go over something rough, you don't break the jack stand. Make sure you pull your wheel chocks, and you should be all set. Once you have everything all set, make sure once again you've had the brake lights and the turn signals checked by somebody with you, and you're ready to go. Biggest thing about pulling a trailer is, remember, it takes you a lot longer to stop, and of course you have to take wide right turns. Of course, I always suggest if you're going to go over something rough like a railroad track or a curb, pulling into or out of a restaurant or gas station, go extra slow. Okay, once you've reached your destination, you're going to want to first make sure that you've got your car in park, and then you chalk the wheels. Make sure you chalk front and back of both sides of the trailer. I keep my chalks inside the front. I got some extra old wooden ones. If your campsite is on level, before you chalk the wheels, you're going to want to use the leveling blocks that I keep inside the camper underneath. Just like this. One block is going to equal about a half a bubble length on the level. So in this case, if I needed to go a whole bubble one way or the other, I would put it up on 2 total blocks like so. Once you've got your trailer leveled side to side, you're ready to take it off of the hitch. Once again, don't forget to chalk both sides of the trailer with the wheel chocks, front and back, both sides. As you can see, I use some blocks just to kind of shorten how long the extender has to go. This can be helpful if you're very unlevel. You're not going to put much weight on the tongue once you have everything set anyway. You have stabilizers for that, so you shouldn't have to worry. Pull the pin, slide the lever back, and then if you have the sway bars adjusted, you're going to want to take those out. When I'm removing the trailer from the hitch, I usually leave the electricity plugged in unless you've plugged in the electric already to your campsite. That way you're not running off a battery. It's a little quicker. Once you've lifted high enough to remove the truck, go ahead and do that. Just don't forget to unhook everything down here. Okay, as you can see, I set up out in front of my house, but once you're ready to your level side to side using the levelers on underneath the tires. Do not, I repeat, do not use the stabilizer jacks as levelers. They're very expensive to replace. They're meant just to hold the camper stable. Use the level that's in the camper, lay it in the middle of the camper if you really prefer, but I just kind of put the level underneath here and just lower the front side, or raise it if you have to, using the stabilizer or using the jack stand until the camper is level. It has to be fairly level, otherwise the refrigerator will not turn on. Once you have your camper level, you're going to want to use the stabilizer jacks, the front and the back, to extend the stabilizers down to the ground, just until you hear the change in the pitch and you know it's set. Once you've pulled in your spot, you're ready to hook up the electricity, which is located here. There is an adapter for the 50 amp. I keep it inside the box underneath the front of the trailer. Okay, ready for the camper setup on the inside. My least favorite part is the stairs, but this is how they work. They fold up. It's a new design, not a huge fan. Put the lever in the middle and then it should pop, or I'm sorry, you put the lever to the side to release and then just slide it out. If it catches on the door, be careful. And then you just fold it down. Now, here's how you adjust so it's not doing what it's doing now. If you have to shorten the legs. The nice thing about this design is you can be on very uneven ground and not have to put any blocks underneath though. So you just pop the pin and then shorten the desired length. Lay it level and put the pin back in right there. This is what the steps look like after you've got them set. The door shuts right over the top. If the door won't shut, you need to adjust the steps. On the panel right next to the door, you got your water pump. If you don't have city water hookup, you're going to want to use that. The pump is located underneath the main sink, by the way. Turn on your water heater. When you turn on the water heater, walk to the back of the camper and make sure you hear it turn on. It should definitely turn on. There's instructions inside the camper if it does not. All the light switches inside the camper are just push button and they turn on. Now for the inside of the camper, underneath the bed is a storage space or access to the outside storage space. You got your jackknife sofa that also sleeps too. You just pull up on the bottom and slide it out. Same thing when you put it back. Everything inside the cabinets you're welcome to use when you rent from us. Even if there's some paper plates and forks left over, you're welcome to use them if you need. Got your radio if you want. The table also sleeps too. Just be careful that when you pull the tabletop off, you don't drop those poles onto your toes like I did once. Doesn't feel good. Turn your refrigerator on as soon as you possibly can. By the way, on is depressed, off is when you press it off. And then if you're running on gas, I have it on auto right now. If you're running on gas, push off if you only want to use the gas instead of electricity for some reason, and you can hear it click. That's how you know it's working. It does take a camper refrigerator about 1 to 2 hours to cool down, so plan accordingly with ice on your food. The stove operation is pretty basic. It does have a burner. I do want to show you the top. It folds backwards. It is not a cooktop range. It folds backwards and folds up again against the backsplash. And you have 3 burners. You do have an oven with a pilot light you have to use. You have to light the pilot light with a lighter stick, which we have inside the drawer. If you've never used an oven like this, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there. Make sure your gas is on. You would smell it when you go to light. You would smell the gas. And then I use a lighter stick. It's just easier. Okay, the shower. Small yet effective. Most camper showers, very small. Big warning. Only use RV toilet paper. We usually supply a couple of rolls, but you need to use RV toilet paper. It will be easy to tell if you did not, because it will clog the toilet and the drain when we go to drain it. Please make sure you are respectful and use only RV toilet paper. I know it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but it makes a tremendous difference when you're draining the black tank. If you've never used an RV toilet before, there's a little push button with your foot. You just fill the water up. I don't have the pump on, so you heard a little bit of water come out. When the water pump's on, you can fill up the toilet just by depressing slightly. And then when you're ready to flush, just push it all the way down it goes. When you pull into your campsite, make sure, I always keep the sanitizer down next to the toilet. Make sure you just put a couple of splashes into the toilet itself so you have that extra sanitation. It doesn't stink in case somebody has some stinky do. Another thing about the toilet you want to remember is you want to put about a gallon flush into the bottom of the toilet in case you have one of your kids who likes to go to the number 2 right away as soon as they get to the campground. You don't want that to sit at the bottom of the tank and dry up. For some reason, if you had to access the water heater, which you should never have to access, it is underneath the bunk. You just lift the wood panels. It's underneath the bottom. Just turn on the water pump so I can show you how the sinks operate. Remember, if you don't have full hookup, you're going to want to conserve how much water. My family of 6 uses 2 nights worth of the full tank of water in 2 nights. So I do have a blue water tank for adding more fresh water. You're going to want to be careful of how much black tank space you use. I always suggest using the campground toilet as much as possible. But the water, just like any other sink, if there's no water pressure, you have 1 of 2 issues. Either you don't have any water left, or you forgot to turn the water pump on right over here. If you have city water hookup with a hose outside, you do not use the water pump. Okay, finally I'm going to show you how to use the awning, most expensive part of the camper. So make sure you are careful when you're using the awning switch. You just depress the switch and it rolls out. This awning has adjustable pitch. Right here you just pull down or push up to adjust the height of the pitch, and that way your rainwater can roll right off whichever corner of the awning you want. It is attached to the side of the camper. There's no extra staking needed. It is rated up to 25-mile-an-hour winds. If you suspect high winds or a storm coming, I would suggest rolling the awning up. Do the same for the backside stabilizer. Now you're all ready for the camper to be put away. I always start by putting the awning away. Please, when you put the awning away, you make sure it is dry. If you are going to be leaving early in the morning, I always recommend putting your camper, the awning away in the evening so it doesn't get wet and mildewy. Okay, now you're ready to pack up and leave for home. Start by rolling up the awning if you haven't already done that. Again, it's best to roll up the awning the night before while it's dry if it's been sunny, so you don't have to dry it off. Please make sure it's dry when you put it away. It will mildew. Just push the button in. No need to adjust anything on the outside. It will automatically adjust itself. Just watch and be careful. See if there's anything that kinks for some reason. Never happened, but be careful. Make sure everything's turned off on the inside, all the lights. If you're gonna drive the refrigerator home, make sure you have the gas option selected. I have the gas turned off. If you have the gas turned off, the check light will stay lit. So if you make sure you leave the gas open. So right now it's running on gas. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. When you're ready to go, make sure everything is buttoned up. Lights are all turned off on the inside so you don't run the battery dead. Start with putting the stairs away. I've got that light left on because it's nighttime, but you're going to want to, again, go right to the stabilizer jacks and lift those up off the ground. Both front and back. It is worth noting that, again, these are just stabilizers. They are not meant to be levelers. Some campers have automatic levelers. This one does not. Please do not use the stabilizers as levelers. Second most expensive part of the camper. Then you're ready to back your truck up. Make sure you've raised the hitch up. And again, have somebody help you back the vehicle up, lined up. Once you're connected, again, chains, electricity, and the hitch. If you're using the sway bars, hook those back up. And you're all set. Just don't forget to pull the chocks like I've done once. Again, that's how you use our Wildwood XLite by Forest River. If you have never emptied the trailer, black and gray tanks, make sure you YouTube it. It's the same on every trailer. I will add a video to this later when I get to a campground. But for now, the biggest thing is to remember black first. Empty your black first, and then empty the gray after you've closed the black back up. It takes about a full 3 to 4 minutes to empty a full black tank. So there is a meter on the inside of the camper, right by the awning switch.